Okay, great. So, each lucid dreaming practitioner that I know in my life and with whom I talk and share my experience, no matter how different we are in some details, there's similarities and same happenings which, no matter how distant we are in our understanding of what the dream is, such experiences are remarkably the same. One of this kind of experience is meeting with characterization and anthropic form of iconic fear that follow us in all our attempts, especially in a sleep paralysis. Now, when I speak about the selfhood, remember that I say your ego have a mechanism of self-defense which will be turned on as soon as you start to have success on leaving your body. In the first way, it will become an obstacle which will be so strong that no matter how brave now you feel, you are not capable to understand how horrifying that terror and fear will be once you change your trance and reaching your alpha state more. Simply all your childish phantasmagoric fears will be present in that kind of hell in which there is no way you can escape. Even if you go out of your body, and we speak about it, to run away from your body as soon as you can, so you can go out more and more, the more and more fear will be present. In one way, as soon as you get the vision, when everything starts to appear, the fear will be stopped. But if you have action plan to meet your fear as soon as you have constructed visual landscape of a dream, you will release mechanism of that fear teleporting in the space where that fear, it shouldn't be existing at all. Like the vampire, when you open the windows, taking the sunshine in your temple, vampire will stop to exist. From the stories, of course, in reality, such a different case. But let me say that as long as you are put a rational will and put energy to see, to meet that fear in an entity, it will reach to you no matter what. You just need to remember the action plan where you write, I am meeting my shadow. Now, when that starts to appear, there is no, there is no way that you need to invocate like you are invocating the entity, saying the name and turning back 180 degrees. No, you just need to remember the action plan in which you wrote a couple of hours before that you have a need to see and meet your shadow. In that moment, you will sense, and it is a specific, particular sensation, that everything will start to dim, like twilight. You will sense, like in horror movies, you know, the music when starts to appear and increase when the killer is approaching. This is something like that. You will see, especially the light will diminish. It will become darker. You will felt that atmosphere is slowing down. The movement will be much harder. You will be like you have 200 kilograms more. You will be like in the mud. Everything will be very difficult to walk because you cannot run from what is getting to you. There is no way that I will say in which way your shadow will appear, but it will be scary. It will be really scary, like a personal part of hell inside of your lucid dream. And it should be present, not always, but mostly cases that returning to the body will be almost impossible. No matter how much you will look and try to return, yes, you can. But sensation of fear will last long after you return to the body. Like that fear is something which is part of your mind setup as long before even you get born. And now you are turning that machinery on. I will just read from my book my experience and trying to convey the atmosphere, which is very important to realize. A different kind of part of mind which will use a fear as a model of speaking. Angels using visual light, colors, shape, so it can put engraving upon your mind. Fear and shadow use the same language, because in the other side of the fear, it's not what you are fearing. It is always love and care, but you are not capable to good translating the word fear, which always mean love, but in different understanding. You need to realize that fear and love, it's like inverting objects in Photoshop filter, and both seeing the same pattern, the same object, and in the end of that path, it is always something that is adorned by love, not by the hate. Fear, it's never production to give you hate, but to give you understanding and love, but in quite an ordinary way, in which the part of your being who are not good parents and you who are not good child are speaking between themselves. Remember, if you have child, how mean and without understanding how much time you've been with your own children when they just ask you to play with them and you say, no, leave me alone, I get sick of all this, and such a similar behavior. When somebody who say I love you, you return I hate you, but both wishing the same. Even you, when you say I hate you, do with corrupt love, but you are not realizing, because in the end, when you hate somebody, the more evil that you can do to that people is that you are not thinking about it. He is not on your priority. if you are truly hate to them. But sometimes when we say that you hate something or somebody, in fact you are loving him, but not in emotional way, in positive way. You are loving it, but in some disturbance way which your selfhood cannot process. You need something more, so you can simply invert the filter of hate so you can love. I will just speak one of my experience so you can just see the kind of terror and horror that shadow will bring always, no matter. It will never go inside of your dream without you letting the shadow in. Without you, who is expressing the will for the shadow to come. Only in one case it is different, in sleep paralysis, when you are not out of the body, when you are still apart. Always shadow will come without control on its own. But once you are step out of the body and you construct a dream scenery with visual boundaries, it will never happen without your will. Once you say and express will for it, then it is for you to wait to appear. I will just read what I'm experienced, so it will be just a few minutes. I hope so, because of my English. In practical terms, we can expect the following. After we have found ourselves motionless after waking up, as we begin with a phantasmal movement or imagining a falling backward notion, right after a few seconds, we begin to hear buzzing sound, something like a fan, but on a much subtler level. As we continue with the phantasmal movement of rocking head, this sound becomes more and more like a rattlesnake, with a specific fear beginning to appear and openly growing inside of us. That sound is getting louder every second. We now hear a huge, massive body crawling on the floor, and that fear growing in us even more. Finally, we roll out to the side, coming out of the body, falling from our bed onto the floor, start touching and move away from the body. After obtaining the vision, we find ourselves in a hallway of our apartment. All around us is a twilight, very dim light of the lamps, which prevent us from seeing the whole ambience clearly. We have a sense, that special weight, that this lucid experience radiates, and no matter how hard we try to strengthen our vision and deepen our dream, this feeling of heaviness and darkness is equally present. We continue to hear the sound of something being dragged along the floor, coming from the next room, always somewhere distant, and now slowly approaching our position. At the same time, the hissing intensifies. Paralyzing fear overwhelms our being, while preventing us from doing anything creatively and escaping this dreaming scene. Every second we give legitimacy to this fear by waiting for it in a daze. The sound is approaching, and we finally notice the shadow at the end of the corridor. We can hardly see anything except that it is colossal and big. We can hardly see anything. The sound of dragging on the floor become even louder. Now it is only a few meters away, and now we suddenly see a huge creature in front of us, which is as tall as the ceiling. A huge snake, almost a meter wide, with black scales that seems to breathe in a demonic way, making a suffocation-like sound. Instead of a snake head, There is a head of an old man with slicked back black hair on the top of it, with curvy eyes and open mouth, with that monstrous sound of the hissing of a rattle and a subtle scream coming of it. As if it is a completely independent entity, the fear in us grows and controls our reactions, making the experience completely passive on our part, always. That horrifying creature begins to hover over us, and the eyes of that serpent grandsire are now staring at us. And instead of hissing, it now begins to scream and howl. Then the whole vision disappears, and we return to the physical plane, not losing consciousness, but equally holding that fear in us in the same way as it was a few moments ago. The experience of the fear that dominated our being is still in us, long after the dream. We have the impression that the whole next day is colored by that terror. This is something which was, how to say, a part of the shadow entity that I meet in my youth. This is in the part of my life, the middle of my teenage time, when I didn't have too much control of lucid dream, although I have a lot of them, but I didn't know the tricks about the control, clarity, and all that I speak to you, so I can save you a couple of years, maybe a couple of decades of wrongly doing. What is the main point of shadow? The first reaction, it's escaping. First in your mind, which will grow, it's idea that you need to escape. But the selfhood, who is always putting in the same room the obstacle and solution. It's giving you, but you are not seeing well that solution. When you sense a fear, it is not a direction where you need to go. It is reaction of your reaction mind inside of you, because you're giving the green light to turn on. It is not your natural state. It is like a drug with starting to aggressively moving away from it. But your selfhood, a few moments before that, when I said that everything will start with a light dim off, and you will sense that there is a slowing of time, meaning your selfhood, it's telling you in a different language that you don't need to escape that fear. You need to come and embrace the creature before you. It will be mission impossible, because now it is very easy to speak about it. But once where you have that being, and you will have a creature that only you know, that petrifies you before you, it will be everything but easy to calm and to hug that creature. But if you succeed in embracing your fear, it is so simple mechanism. Don't try to using your magical sword to crush it, vibrating the divine name, to paint a pentagram, speaking the words of God, mantras, prayers, sending an energy of laser to destroy it. It will destroy it none. The only way you can do it, to intercourse with that fear. It's not to destroy it. It is created just exactly you destroy something in the past without knowing what it is. When you felt fear the first time your parents leave you, it is expressing of your child inside of you screaming for love, not for hate. Fear is just illusion of expressing that love. So you don't need to express the same condition of what caused that fear to show to you in the first place. You need to do exactly the opposite. You need to send love when you felt love, but you didn't get love, when you felt alone. You will have most magnificent intercourse and partnership in your life, holding the most horrific thing, that dark creature, that vampire, which is the essence of hell. But you will say something which whole universe it's not capable to speak to that creature, because the whole universe it's fear of that creature, and that is, I love you. I love you because I want you to be the part of me, to see you not in the darkness but in the light. And because you are in the darkness, people are giving you vampire teeth, the bloody mouth, the horns, because they are not looking at you in the light, not knowing how beautiful you are. When you start to dealing with this kind, with your shadow, you will get something which will change your life eternally. You will build a bridge toward your childhood and the parts of your being which were never built in that way before. Very simple. There is no meditation, no trance, ceremonial. Just hug your fear. It is not easy as I'm speaking, but you will remember my words. It will be horrifying, it will be terror, it will be ugly, but it is just as it look like. And you are making it look like this. This is not the real shape of your fear. Deeply inside of it, there is a chocolate, and you need to eat it. It will be sweet and lovely. Believe me. You will see how much that dreadful feeling and being will be present, especially when you have lucid dreaming in the morning, which put additionally connection and link with childish nightmares, which usually are worst between 3 to 5 hours AM after the midnight. I don't know PM, IM, just 3 to 5 hours after the midnight. Because in that period, in child's mind and brain, to be specific, it's starting to work the third and maybe the last REM phase, after which awakening comes, where the dream, it's shallow but wide. You see on diagram, the last REM state are very narrow, very close to the wakefulness, but still your dreams are more intensifying. In the beginning of the night, you will never remember anything, but few hours before the dawn, 1 hour before the dawn, if somebody shake you, you will say, oh man, I have some sensational dream. Very, very vivid. The REM phase, it's very special in that time, so you can find resemblance with the creatures of the night, with the black eyes, always hissing, the sounds of them always very disturbing, like the alien abduction phenomena. And as you remember, when people who have witnessed the alien abductional phenomena, what they will say, what is the general of their experience? First, most of them an hour before awakening, not in the beginning of night, before the dawn. The second, the little beings in the dark, always coming outside, first watching them on the windows and then starting to get into the house. Typically, shadow approaching in your lucid dream. Third, your body, when you're alien abducting, is always paralyzed, and alien will start to experiment and you will not be able to move. Sleep paralysis. Very, 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 how to say, so strong connection with typically lucid dreaming, sleep paralysis, fear phenomena, that if you put an action plan, I want to have UFO experience, you will have 100 the same as most of people experience, and they are convinced all their lives the aliens abduct them. All they have is very simple and very ordinary sleep paralysis before awakening in the dawn. And you can have it just when you build an action plan to have it. Now, when you start to talk with that creatures, you will have and get the knowledge which no books, manuals, grimoires, instructions, aspirants, gurus and teachers can give you. Try to establish a contact with that fear. Don't scrutinize your demon. Make your demons your dildos toward the light. Use them as your pal and friend, accompanies in your holy act of delight. And you will have a company in your spiritual involvement, which will start to give you your spiritual life as it should be, returning the favor. Once the fear sense no fear in you, when you approach the fear, when you give the love and light, it will give 100 times bigger light and love to you, because there is a true meaning of fear in that occasion. Fear don't want to fear yourself, to feel that fear. But there is no way the fear can ask you, please, please send me love. Don't send me what everybody sent me all these hundreds of thousands of years. I just want you to be my friend. And you know, when you were a child, go to some kindergarten, when you want to play with some other kids, when you say, hey, come to me, play with me. If children turn the back and go away saying, no, no, we fear you, we fear you, you will have a ruined life. But imagine that that child who knows that he's ugly and horrible, there is some little girl or some boy who will step before and say, hey, let us play. Everything that that child desires will be there. So don't turn the back of your fear, embrace your fear. That is natural relationship with your selfhood. There is no shadow in the end of that tunnel. There will be your angel awaiting you in the light. Dark and demon, it's not natural shape of the universe. It is a shape of a universe when we put a filter of our ego and filter of our imperfectness. So we can just think that we saw a glimpse of the universe through the form of demon and the dark. But the true nature of truth is the light and the angel. We are just moralizing and putting our imperfections on something which you don't understand. And take care about the people who will judge your spirituality, showing that in fact you are on the right path. Working with shadow, I don't know. Sometimes it's good to have it in the beginning. Sometimes it is best to leave after some, I don't know how much experience previously, but listen to your own voice. If you start to feel that you can work with it, work with it. If you feel that you need more time so you can get much of control of your dreams, then it is best for you to listen to your dream. Just to see what you are writing this. Okay, I will see, because there is a lots of people writing. I'm sorry, because when I speaking there is no way I can move my mind from my ideas, because whenever I speak, I don't speak with any plans. I don't have agenda, nor I always speak without preparation, and you can sense that. But for me, that is the best way of learning and teaching, without any plans, without any constructions. For about the methods which you can inflict physical reality, you can start with physical health. Very easy. Let me say that I have corona, and I had corona. I was out of, because I'm diabetic and I have asthma. You can just sense how close I was. And I was in hospital, and I ran away from a hospital because my brother died, and he was diabetic. He died in a hospital, and I saw that simple, they are struggling and they wanted to help, but they didn't know what the corona is. And I just moved to my own apartment, so if I die, I will die at home. And after 3 days, I was like new. Totally. I simply stop listening to the news. I just play my music. I play video games, and I do some lucid dreaming tricks, which I will show you. Let us say that you have problem with lungs. When you are transferring to a lucid dream, once again, what you need to have before everything, you need to have action plan, so you can repair your lungs. Now, you don't have lungs in your lucid dream. So, how can you repair something which you don't have? Well, in fact, you don't have lungs but you have something which is far more closer to that lungs. You have will to have lungs. So whatever that will be, the lungs will follow that will. In a practical manner, if you watch yourself in a lucid dream without any action plan, when you move your head, when you watch my lung, you will see no lung. When you watch your hand, you will see some strange hand, some form starting to wiggle and move, but it will be no your hand. Because this is only your mind stumbled in moment now, don't knowing what to give you, because you express the will to see something which all your lives you are seeing, and that is your hand, but he cannot give you something which is not existing. But if you are expressing a will in action plan to repair your lung, your mind will create that experience in that moment, in the moment of remembering what the action plan is. In that moment, your mind is creating everything which will happen in the future, but you are not realizing yet, but starting to fulfill. Now, in that moment, when you are looking at your lungs, you will feel and you will see your lungs like this, because you already constructed night before when you write in your action plan. Now, you are giving your fingertip and you are start to blowing the breath on your finger, imagining like it is a cigar. You are turning on the cigar and you are doing this. What will happen with the heat? It will start to expand when you are put a breath and oxygen. So if you are imagining that there is a light and heat, a fire, holy fire, on the edge of your finger, with blowing that, you will see that your finger will start to heat more. Now, when you ignite that fire, you only need to put that fire through the lungs, heating and burning all illness without any holy command, prayers, mantra, vibration, holy word. Just will. Everything else is the same. The words, the colors, the shapes, just a tool for your will where it will go. Don't waste a time for something which already is present by the gift that you are born person, born soul. You don't need a weapon or incantations for your will to say, I want to have this. I already said it a couple of seconds, maybe less. So, when you do that, you will feel like a spear of heat, spear from the sun. It's tearing apart everything which is unhealthy. In a mental way, you are not doing anything about it. You are just giving in one complexity language command for your mind to heal the lung. That's it. Nothing more. But you are building a fairy tale story. Why? So your reactive mind, who don't believes that this is possible, will believe. When your stupid reactive mind see the heatness of your finger, your reactive mind will say, This is exactly what Dushan told us in his webinar. This is truth. And when you put that on your ill place, you will felt an energy. But it is not rising on your lungs. It is rising in the part of the mind which is just connected with your lungs. Just as me, it's not in Serbia. I am literally now inside of your skull. As electrical impulse from the speakers of your computer, but making impressions that I am outside of it, but you are hearing me and seeing me in the center of the skull, like electrical impulse which create illusions with whom you can you can talk, so you can have benefit. The same is this mechanism. You are not curing the energy, you are just putting attention. It is like, I'm the motorcycle. I like motorcycle and I drive much motorcycle in my life. Whenever I buy a motorcycle which nobody has previously, that day when I bought that strange motorcycle, I start to see that kind of motorcycle all around me in my city. When you buy a red Mercedes, which just a day before that nobody was driving, when you are bought a red Mercedes, you will start to see exactly that red Mercedes each day. What that means? Very simple. Your attention now is increased over red Mercedes by the fact that you have it. The day before you didn't see it because you didn't have it. That's the point. Statistic. Nothing more. So, once again, when you have ill place, have some problems, watch your finger and start to blow. You will sense a breath and you will see and feel the heat, like, I don't know the name, on the fireplace, when you, all that burning wood and everything, which is very heat, red flame, I don't know, and it will become a red, like this, like heat, like burst. And when you start, it will start to grow more, to enlarge, to be the part of the whole finger. Now just dive like injection of energy inside, and you will even feel pain, but continue to push, and you will see release and energy flow from the core of your cortex through the spinal cord as a fake information of consciousness. Very simple. But your mind will give illusion that you will heat and that is fire in your lungs if you have problems with the lungs, which is just illusion and fake reality, but which we already constructed because of our interest and benefit, not by chance. Changing the physical reality, it is so different way of doing all the magic and ceremonial that I would need a more time to tell you what you don't need to do. That you need to stop to do so you can do this magic. Certainly I will talk more and more practical tips in the next, for those who are just want or who don't want, I can share with you in some other different webinar, because it will take a lots of time, how to break the part of your mind who is telling you what is normal and what is not normal, what is possible and what is not possible. So you can start to affect reality and to change onto the outcomes you want. Now it has some bonus and have also a minus, which you need to know so you can see if you are ready to use this magic. Sometimes you need to be careful of what you wish. If you wish to have a lots of money, or to have a decent apartment where you can live, sometimes the universe will bow to your will, but it will strike the weakest part of your life, killing your father or mother, so in the end you will have heritage of your father, and now you will have enough money. But you will say, no, not like this. Your reactive mind is like your mother. He don't know how important your father is. You express will to have money. Now you have money. Why you complain? You need to know that the part of a mind who will sometimes choose to change the directory of the whole universe will change a much more different things that you believe it will change. When you want, for example, to have nice car, there are billions of different combinations of destiny and different combinations of you, which will all have a good car, but in different way. You will have a good car splashing you on a street, killing you, and the wheels will run over you, so you will have a good car, but in front of you, and your dead body will be underneath. This is the same way for fulfilling the wish. I want to have a good car. Sometimes you will have a different kind of destiny, of what we are calling the destiny, and you wish not to have it at all once you got it. So you must be prepared to release your mind, to know, is it good way or bad way? If you are not 100% sure that you need to have this, even not 99 but 101% sure that no matter how much and in which combination you need something, then you should not do it. You need to work on yourself, to be brave enough to know what is your nature. No matter how repulsion and how bad things you will attract or sacrifice some other, play with your moral. If you have 2 children, imagine then that some terrorists are come to your place and put a gun in one of your children, saying, you need to choose which child we will kill. If you choose the other child, we will let live. But if you don't choose in the next 5 seconds, we will kill them all. What you will choose? Usually 5 seconds is already gone, so they will kill them both. You need to be precise, but you don't know what it will be. Sometimes you must to get hard decision without any doubt, without any sacrifice, without any blame or guilt. If you are not capable to do that, then you will not do this as I speak. The mechanism of attracting your desires to the surface of reality, it's like putting an ice meat out of the refrigerator so it can melt and using to eat. No matter how you get good recipe for the meat, you need to do the same thing for all kind of meat. You need to waste some time so ice can be melted. Whatever you do later, the first part of that technique, it's always the same. You need to melt something from the depths of your mind so it can go to the surface of what we are calling awakeness. Mostly desire are not awake at all. If you want to have big tits, a woman, if you have it, you will know how difficult and very, very stupid it is to kiss a woman with such a big breasts. It is always nice to see on movies, but in reality, when start to moving and to clamps and everything, it is not so much nice in reality. Our desires are not real. What we want and what we believe will turn us, it's not turning us in reality. That's it. If we want to have a good salary, it will be so nice to think. But once you get promotion and that good salary, the quality of your life will become the same misery. When you buy a car or a motorcycle from your dream, first few days you will enjoy. But after 5 days, you will remember that you even got something which even 5 days before was the dream come true state of your life. So, you must realize that fulfilling your dream, it's not technique, but the state of your mind. You need to change the frequency of your desire, not to be expected, like in lucid dream, when your reactive mind will crush. You must forget it, not to think about it at all. Desirous who are not desired, it's much closer to get materialized than desired wish. We will talk about it, especially maybe after all these webinars. There is a kind of magic which is called sigil magic. It is something which is quite different than symbol. It is very chaotic, very strange, and you can find on my blog everything that I do in my life. Mostly all I just constructed with sigils and nothing more. And it is so easy that you will be amazed how amazed it is. The more stupid techniques of constructing these things is, the more easier for it to manifesting. Totally contrary. You remember what we think? You think that the more hours in your meditation need for your attainment, enlightenment. In fact, it is totally the contrary. For enlightenment, you need a moment, not an hours of expectation of enlightenment. Each high state take less time than you think it need, because your ego think it need more time, which in reality is quite the opposite. The more time you need for something like supreme experience, in reality you need quite the opposite, such less time. And opposite, when you think that it will be something easy and it will take just a few minutes, no, in reality it will occupy whole your day, taking your energy, and you will return from your work saying, oh, this was nightmare. I plan to talk about this 5 minutes and I destroy whole my day taking my time without any success. This is exactly showing how our approach to life is totally contrary than what life expects from us in the beginning. So let me tell you my ways of using the dreams. First of all, you need to construct scenery like your inner temple. You need, but not inner temple, you need to construct the bank with whole building, the guards, policemen, officer, the floors, and the basement where safes of money are kept. And you will build that scenery not with any technique, but you are building it exactly now. As I'm speaking, you are imagining that kind of bank. You see? So next time when you are doing lucid dreaming, just remember my words and teleport yourself, and your mind will give you exactly this bank, because you already constructed. When? Few seconds ago, when I start to speak about it. So now I will start to implement more spin in your mind, because your mind now don't know what I will tell you. Whatever I tell you, your mind will take as a granted. So we will use that advantage. That bank will be not in this time. It will be in the last century, before you are even born, in the same city where you lived. You will go in your lucid dreaming, teleporting in time traveling, and you are remembering how we are doing the time traveling. You can do it through the doors, or best by flying and keeping your mind up, thinking about the year you want to change. And when you touch your heels and your legs with the surface, you will put your head and you will see the time change. And you will be before the bank, which we will use this. In that bank, we will not secure our money, because money don't have value in this part of the mind. This bank is constructed for keeping desires and wishes so long so it can have time for materialization. So next time when you want to fulfill your dream, you will not have action plan except 2 points, and you will write it before your lucid dreaming attempt. First point, go to the past bank. I'm calling this past bank. You can call it whatever you want. Inner laboratory, time travel bank, I don't know, selfhood bank, whatever. The second, you will implement desire written on your paper, which you will find in the right pocket the next time you find yourself in a lucid dream. Just get your right hand in the right pocket and you will see the envelope with your desire, and you will write and everything that you want to get fulfilled in that letter. I want to have money, I want to fuck this girl, I want to fuck this guy, I want them to fuck me, I want the boss fuck me, I want me to fuck my boss. Whatever you want. The way of fucking are very, very wide. Use them as your will. So, envelope in your right pocket, and you are going to the bank. Now, you need to ask the guard in the bank. And now if you ask me what guard, the same guard that I'm speaking about in the first place when I said that bank will have guards, officials, policemen and everything. There is a guard in the front of that bank which is constructing right in this moment when you are listening to me. So approach to that guard, show him your envelope, he will read a numbers of your personal safe and he will lead you in the basement where it is your personal safe, like, I don't know in English how to say, the pirates have safe, you know, with the money, with your desires. Now he will leave you to be alone with that safe, and you need just to put envelope in that safe, close the safe, lock it, and return to the body. Nothing more. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, you are doing nothing because you already planned it in the past. Now, the years and centuries, it's passing and your envelope, it's still there. After a month or 2 months or maybe at least 2 weeks, the more it is better. You are projecting in the bank, but not in the past, in the future. And you will see another guard before the bank because the previous guard, now it's dead. You are time traveling in the future. Again, you say who you are and you speak that you want to take your personal envelope. The new guard will lead you for the same place. You will lock again. You will see that envelope, it's full of dust and time consuming, and you will take that envelope, leave the bank and fly to the sun, leaving it in the center of the sun so it can be destroyed, and the radiation and heat and the light from the sun will start to glow whole earth under the energy of that envelope. Don't ask me why, I don't know. Simply that's the stupid way it should be. Now when you return to the body, every time you look to the sun, you will see your envelope and your wish glowing from the essence of that sun. Each time. And all peoples, when they go, wanted to get black and sexy, in fact, they will get the energy of your desire, which will radiate through the light of the sun, bathing the whole earth and reality. Just imagining, play with your mind that everything around you will get the essence of your desire. There is a billion of different ways you can use this. You can go in your lucid dreaming. Go to your inner temple. If you have a windows of your inner temple, I don't have, so I can think something else. But if you have, imagine that, or put an action plan that you want to go to visit your astral temple in the time of winter. Why winter? Because the interior will be hot. You will have a fireplace, or I don't know, the torches on the walls, and it will be very warm. So you can go to the windows and put a mouth mist which will last a couple of seconds. Write the wish on your window and watch the mist start to disappear. It is very important that you are seeing your wish and in the same time it is start to disappear. What is disappearing for your mind is awakening and increasing for your selfhood. We are turning from your awakeness, implanting to your peripheral side, to your true will, which is in fact charged for implementing the wish. What is not seen by your eyes is seen by your internal eye. That's the point. We are deliberately, you know, the child game when they start to teasing other children. Look, this toy what I have, now I don't want you to give him. And child start to say, no, please give me that toy, please. No, I don't want to give you. This is the same mechanism. We put something in the field of our awakeness and then we close. The most better instruction for something to be implemented in your mind, it's not that I want you to say, if I want you to implement an elephant, I will not say, Caroline, think about the elephant. Never. I will say, Caroline, please, if you want to do me good, never again think about the elephant. And you will exactly do the opposite. You will, each time you see an elephant, so a Dushan begging you not to think about it. The perfect way of your selfhood, it's through negation of something which is obvious. Because if you give a positive statement, you already know that it is not truth. If you want to be brave, when you say, I am brave, everybody knows that you are not brave. You just need to be brave. But people who are brave will never say to themselves, I am brave. No, they will say nothing. They will just do things without saying. We need to do something which is quite the opposite of those what we think that fulfillment of our desires. Most techniques that we just think that fulfill our desires, it's in fact method of our reactive mind of stopping of us to wish desire at first place. Our reactive mind cannot fulfill something which is impossible for it, because your ego lives in a physical world which is part of physical reality and physical laws which is ruled by universal laws, and you are nothing compared to that. You are just an empty shell who is just doing what it is told. Nothing else. You are just a consequence of billions of other forces, external and internal. But what your selfhood is doing now, because it cannot destroy the universe because you are not rich. It cannot give you a lottery number. But it can do something so horrific and terrible. So the end will be the same. It will destroy a desire for you to be happy as a rich person. He will implant a happiness in ordinary things, so you will not have desire for richness, because you are satisfied with what you have. You see how your reactive mind is changing your desire so it can fulfill exactly the opposite of what you need. Not because it is weak. It is the only thing he has. Because your mind, your reactive mind, is a consequence of natural forces in your being. We just use the mind as a tool. But in this way, you are a tool of your mind. He is a master and you are a puppet. And you don't see the strings, which are so thin that you think that you are in control. The whole process of fulfilling desires, it's something like cheating the game. It is so easily, especially with some breathing technique, which we can talk in a webinar of practical magic we will have in the next month, because I need more time. This is totally different kind of webinar, but there is also a perfect trick, and with that perfect trick I will just close this part of webinar so we can move. We have so other topics and chapters. Now, when you are apart, anywhere in your lucid dream, you start to rubbing your body, your hands, until you see that your scenery is strong. You will felt. Now you need to fulfill your action plan. But this time you will not fulfill your action plan, because you will write your action plan, the 3 points, whatever you want. But now we will not fulfill any of that point. We will do something totally different. And your mind now expecting to have importance of action plan, because all these hours and all these weeks I'm talking about it, but now we are taking something which is quite the opposite. Remember, always quite the opposite. When you are get used to something, you change. And that is the way you are fighting with the mind. Never to have same method. Always change. When you are start to be master of one technique, you need to change, because the techniques will not work anymore. It will stop to work when you have mastership. In spiritual way, it is the mechanism which will make your mind get mad. Simply believe me, don't stick and don't try to perfect method, because you will get disappointments very much. Change, play, experiment. Don't stick with one good plan, because there is no one plan. There is billions of other good plans. So, when you're a lucid dream, we say about lungs, and we say what? We don't have lungs. Our imagination in lucid dream only have remembering of what is inhale and exhale. Because in inhale you will reach a point when your lungs are so full of air that there is nothing else so you can inhale. There is a limitation of your breasts and your lungs. But in your lucid dream, you don't have that kind of limitation. There is only expectation of your reactive mind where that boundary is. But if you start to breathe, inhale in full, you will be so surprised, because you will see that there is no limitation of that inhaling. For the first time in your life, your mind will have information that inhale, inhale, inhale. He will think now it is enough, but no, you are still inhale, inhale, not because you have infinite lungs. You have infinite mind, which implement idea of infinite lungs. So that lungs will have infinite inhale. And you will see that your attention now think about this inhale, but without any pause. Why? Because there is no stop of that infinite inhale. You will start to expand your consciousness more and more and more, and when you and more in one way, and nobody say when. After 10 seconds, 15 seconds, your mind will simply refuse and give the hand in the air and say, okay, you win. Your mind will stop to take care upon automatic reflections of your being, heart, breath, and everything. It will release very small kind of force in your mind, which is always reserving, like in computer, the part of memory for processor, for energy, for battery, for time, for date. It will erase everything. And you will find yourself expanded above the region of a dream. You will lose your coordination. Your mind will be totally resetting because you are starting to hurt the very point of its existing, reflexive and automatic awareness. And we say that for your mind, that kind of thinking is on crucial and most important priority. You cannot beat, just try, not go now after the webinar and stop trying to breathe and tell me, will you die? No. No matter how hard for you it's to stop your breath, inevitably, in few minutes, seconds, your body will take final breath. How is that? Because your mind have priority of biological survival mechanism, which is in more deeper level than your will not to breathe. In one way, you will have a Caroline who don't want to breathe, and the same Caroline, reactive mind, who is very, very strong, who want to live. Who is more important and who is more Caroline? Both of them are the part of the same Caroline, but the second one, it's the older sister, and the younger sister needs to listen to older sister. And when older sister said, you need to stop with a breathing stopping, you will start to get another breath. It is the same in your dream. When you start to inhale, your mind is simply realize that it should not exist. There is no need to take care about your breathing because you don't have breath in your dream. Imagine how liberating this will be from your ego, who is a slave of your first second of your life on this earth until the last breath before the coffin of your grave. Your part of brain don't have a single second of stop, of break. Always need to pump your heart and to breathe the breath on the lungs without any stopping. Imagine how much liberation and free energy for your mind will give you when you reach with inhaling that part of consciousness. You need to inhale, and you will be so surprised because you will see that there is infinite way of inhaling. Start to masturbate in your dream, because in your dream there is no contractions which will last few times and there will stop. You will have orgasm which will last and last and last and last until you want to last. Imagine how wonderful it can when you reach this wonderful sensation of orgasm without physical conditions and boundaries of your, kako se kaže bre ova, kod nas što se kontrakuje Vlado bre, nije bre bešika nego što nam, I talk with Serbian, with my friends, what is the part when we have contracting of our, I think women have uretrus and we have, I don't know which part when you have orgasm which starting to contracting. Mostly male have problems with it. I don't know what. Prostate. The contraction of prostata. Bravo, Vlado. Yeah. So, if you want to go to have tantra in your dream with the god or goddess, you will have orgasm without contraction of that part of your body being, because you don't have body. You have just experience. So, when you want to have experience of orgasm or experience of inhaling, it will start and it will only stop until you want to last. If you want to last a couple of minutes, it will last. Imagine how your mind will be fucked, because it will expect that it will soon pass. A couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, and that's it. But when you're having an orgasm, second, 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, it will simply stop to be rational. It will reach the boundaries and expectation of your ego, which simply know that some experience lasts 5 or 10 seconds, because it measures experience not by awareness, but by time, which simply don't exist in a dream in a way we expecting to be. So, if time will be different, imagine how you will be different. Experience something which will last without time. There is no way of expressing to me how wonderful all this is for your mind and how much action plans you can have in different way to play with yourself in a full sense of a word. So, this is only, how to say, ideas which for me it is beneficial and crucial for your practice, for your future practice of your lucid dreaming. They are also an aspect which we will pass on the scrying and the astral projection as a wake method. Next time I will see, either we will choose a scrying to do firstly, or astral projection. I will see. Or we can talk. Let us decide, everybody of you, think which approach you need most, so we can talk. For me it is the same, but it is a different path. Sometimes for me, I think for the people who are practicing and starting to practicing scrying and using the black mirrors and with the physical opening eyes, it's something to be learned by first, but we will see. So, until next week, the same time, same place, same everything. I hope you have a pleasantness as much as I had. It was very difficult for me to speak a little of everything, but not everything about it, because there is no way I can told you my way of doing, because in that time you will accept it and it will stop to be your. You need to find your own, so I can just push you in ideas, not in techniques. You need to find your own techniques, and you will find it as your experience will get wider you always have my emails. Whatever you need, we can share, we can talk. There is an hours and hours of all this talk. Just you must understand me, we have limited time. Even now we are using 4 hours of instant talk, which is, I know it's hard for you to listen, imagining how hard for me it's to speak, especially in a language that I started to speak recently. So next time we are going in this way, scrying, you will see totally different than lucid dreaming. And my favorite part, it is astral projection, or how to say, awake method, which is totally contrary from lucid dreaming. Although the goal is the same, approach will be totally different. And I always like everybody to experience all 3 of this state, so you can choose what you naturally preferred. Nobody can have each of that 3 cycle gradually in the same way increasing. You can just choose your favorite, so you can find your own way and methods and everything. But my advice in the first way, just have a full experience of all of these 3, so you can see in the first place what you prefer, something you need, or just think that you will prefer. In practice, when you realizing, you will see that it is not so much nice than you just thought. I'm losing my language and I'm become very tired. Next week, the same place, we will talk probably about the scrying. If you have some, probably you will have some questions. I didn't put attention on your questions. I'm very sorry, because I will divide from my thoughts, which already was very confused. It was very difficult for me to speak. You have my email. Whatever you want to clarify or to talk with me, just wrote me, and I will have a special time with you with dedication, so I can answer it, as you already know that I'm trying to make attention as much as I can. Have a nice week. Be good, be well. I love you very much. You was best attentive and patience people. 4 hours. This is our third week. Third week. 12 hours almost of talking. So love you very much, and next Sunday scrying probably. Namaste. Thank you very much. Bye man. Bye. Bye.